That record holds now that the camera completely
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton, and as always, this is Andy.
Yes, hello. How is everyone?
And you're still in America, aren't you?
I'm still in America for one more day. Yes, I'm coming home.
Oh, don't.
It's great. All these people have been singing, like, looking forward to my return. It's been quite touching, you know. It's good. I don't know why they had it at Silverstone. I'm coming home on the entrance of a pit lane. I didn't even know they knew. But it shows the reach that our podcast has, that they are so invested in where I am in the world. It's great.
God bless them, each and every one of them, eh?
Absolutely, yeah.
Hashtag blessed.
What else are we talking about?
Oh, look, as much as I love the football and what's going on, yeah, it's going to creep into everything, isn't it? Oh, man.
This football, is it? What?
Yeah, apparently so, yes.
Say what?
Yeah, anyway, so we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the 2018 British Grand Prix, which happened today.
Yes, this morning at 6 o'clock again.
Oh, was it 6 o'clock?
Fortunately, I'm back in the UK for the German Grand Prix, which means it'll be middle afternoon. Awesome.
Hey, that's good. And this is the furthest we've been away from each other on Grand Prix, because the first one we did, was it the first one? I'm sure it was the first one. You were around my house, and we recorded directly after that race.
It was the first British Grand Prix. Yeah. Wow.
And then last time I was actually there.
You were actually there, and you weren't there this time, were you?
Nay.
Despite much promise of it. So do I assume no one got caught in lifts?
I tried to get the standby, and I don't know what happened. I'm not too sure whether it was taken up by someone else at a different area or not, because normally there's an area that normally do the day-to-day running of it, and they have always elbowed it because they don't get paid to go to the Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. Now, whether someone has turned around and said, oh yeah, I like Formula One, I'll go, and snatched it from my grasp, then I don't know. But that's what's happened. And yeah, all I feel is I'm happy that I got in there last year. I had that opportunity, so I can't really moan about it, can I?
Yeah, you had the experience. I think given the race we had, it was a better one to watch and see the overall picture.
Yeah.
Were my thoughts. Also, I think it would be pretty damn miserable given how hot it is over there, or at least how hot I gather it is over there just now.
It is steaming at the moment, and I think I would have come back absolutely red yesterday. So going out in it in another day, I don't think I could have hacked it, because I went for the MotoGP last year as well, and man, that was Bako Keiko.
Of course, hopefully, the Grand Prix Podcast will be able to report legitimately at the WEC race at Silverstone. I think that's in August sometimes. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it is.
See if we're legitimate enough. But we should do. Our reach is unsurpassed in Formula One. So
far
obviously WEC would be happy to have us there.
F&W. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so we're here to talk about the Grand Prix. I'm going to get your initial thoughts on it. So what did you think of this year's race?
I enjoyed it. It was a good race, all in all. There was a nice bit of drama straight from the off. Despite the usual protestations of, it's possible to pass there was lots of passing, which I liked. And then we got a nice little safety car to spice things up in the middle. Unfortunately, that was followed by a second safety car. And then you start wondering, oh, God, no, it's just going to be non-stop safety cars now until the end. But they sorted that out. Yeah, all in all, I would say it was a great race. Really only ruined by one thing, and that is the toys that were being thrown out of prams after the race.
Oh, they're all over the Northamptonshire Greenway, really, aren't they? They're all
really
over
are.
The place.
Toys are everywhere. Someone didn't get his milk and cookies, I feel, and so had a sulk. And it's a real shame, because I straight up think that was a great drive from Lewis, and I straight up think any other driver would have been like he'd slapped it out on the table, flump. Yeah, that is a championship drive right there, back of the grid to second at a racetrack where you can't overtake.
Yep.
And no, it's just sitting there saying, well, Ferrari's hit us 3 times now. Is it an accident or is it something more? don't, you know, and again, as much as I hate the talk to them straight after Parc Fermé moment, just stropping off with your bloody helmet. I like the fact Martin Brundle kind of sneaked into the thing at the end. It's like, yeah, you ain't getting away, boy.
Okay, yeah, straight after them taking their helmets off, I don't agree with it, but if it's protocol that they're doing, then sloping off and getting out of it ain't on, really, is it?
No. I mean, the whole reason they do it is they want that unfiltered saying something you regret later. You know, they want that.
Of course they do.
I mean, and you denied us that. You denied us it, damn it. I mean, my mind goes back to, like, Jenson Button in Canada, where, again, he had a similar sort of thing. You know, he's from the back of the grid, and okay, he won, but, you know, he was never expecting to win or anything like that. And, again, he was just, like, so happy. And, again, look at Alonso, who absolutely shouldn't be ecstatic about finishing, what was it, 8th in the end?
Yeah, that's right.
Whichever one it was. But he's still there saying, and let's face it, he's kind of done with McLaren and Formula One, but he's still there saying, yeah, it was not bad, it was the best I could do, you know, it was all right and all that. I'm not there sulking going, it literally looked like someone had shot his bloody dog.
Okay, right, I feel like we're going to go over this again later.
Possibly.
So, it's good to get your initial impressions on it.
Yeah, they're just my initial thoughts. You know, just off the cuff, as you will.
Okay. My thoughts, I thought this was the second best Grand Prix this year. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it had almost everything. I loved the safety cars. I think the safety cars proved to be the better bet than VSC as well, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. They were at just the right moment as well. The race was in danger of becoming stagnant then, and then all of a sudden, poof!
Exactly. And it is, the way that they brought out the safety car is a case on where they would normally, that was the reason why VSC was brought in. So you would nullify the whole circuit and bring it to a kind of grinding halt, leave all the action where it is. And so they could remove a car from its precarious position. And yet they went for the safety car option, which I think gave everyone a much better race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that. Again, it was a little bit annoying that there was one straight afterwards.
That doesn't help, but there were moments where it was just classic. It was classic Formula One where you had an aerial shot of the top 4 drivers driving through Maggots and Beckett's, and it was they were within like 1 or 2 seconds of each other. They were perfectly spaced out. It was silver, red. My OCD was flipping all over the place going, this is wonderful. This is how it should be. It works.
Yeah.
And
just get a bit closer so it's literally red, silver, red, silver.
Yeah. And it was just beautiful, and it was exciting. And there was still 10 laps to go as well. So, yeah, the safety car saved it, I think, but man, it was well worth it, I thought.
Even without the safety car, though, seeing Lewis car through the field and also seeing Kimi and other drivers who were pulling off good overtakes.
Yep.
I know some people complain about the DRS being, you know, making it like Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. I'm fine with that. All we need now is a blue shell. That would kind of seal it for me.
Yeah.
It just, even though there was an obvious speed differential between the cars, you get to some circuits, Monaco, where you can be in a works Mercedes, be stuck behind something like an Arrows or a Williams, and that's it, that's your race done. Whereas at least here, if you had that speed differential, you could get past them, you could get on with it. Mm-hmm. And we saw a pass for the lead on the circuit.
I know, what the hell?
Absolutely. Within a few laps of the end, there was 5 cars that potentially could have won, all with different engines, all with different tyre strategies.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yep. Okay, good. Right, well, there's our initial impressions for the last 10 minutes. I suppose we'll see you next week if that's all you want to hear. So
we said it would be a short one, so there you go. So yeah, you can find us at RogueTwoMedia.
Okay, right. In between the last race and this race, this was the third head of a triple header as well. So it has been busy for us as well as all of them lot as well, doing all their circus, globe-trotting, etc. So was there any news that went down in between the last race and this one?
Well, apparently it got a little bit much for Eric Boulier, all this non-stop, week to week to week. So he quit. And by quit, I mean they ran out a plank from Woking and kind of made him walk off of it.
Right.
Jim lad, off you be.
Yeah, so he's gone now, isn't he? He's decided that it's the right time for him to depart. He's had, 4 years there, I think?
I think so. He came in... So Ron oversaw the switch to Honda, which was the second year of the new regs, which was 2015?
15. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came in 2016.
Oh, okay. So only 2 years.
I think so. I'm sure people are shouting at the screen saying, "You're wrong, you're full." So I'm going to look it up because I don't like to be called a fool.
Yeah, you better Google that.
He has he was there from 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was. Well, it says he has announced his resignation, but it was either. I think this was a case of jumping before he was pushed, if anything.
I think axes were about to swing, weren't they? And it was a case of, well, I'm probably going to be going anyway, so I might as well save a bit of face, which is fine. And I think executives and fans alike kind of need to see something happening at McLaren. Otherwise, it's all going to get a bit samey each week. And so this is possibly the best way to do things.
I think so. I think with Eric as well, he probably, to a certain extent, feels how Alonso does. He's not going to enjoy where it is. And given the way McLaren is set up with its shareholders and its multiple layers of management and all the politics you get in there, I don't think he was able to really craft the team how he'd want to. Mm. The same way he did when he was at Lotus. And, he was almost a Ross Brawn type figure who had complete control and say over all departments and bringing in whoever you want. McLaren just isn't set up like that. So I gather he just said, "I'm done. We've tried for this. We're not going forwards. We're going backwards. I'm the one who's standing there smiling to the cameras, saying we're trying our best." Zach's more of a, going after the sponsors, and I suppose he's a bit more hands off, whereas Eric represents the engineering side as a whole, the actual race team.
Yep.
So it just got to a point where no, you got to go. So allons-y. So I don't know if I don't know where we'll see him next. To be honest, I don't know any teams that are currently going to be looking to. Maybe Williams, but then who can say there?
Yeah,
we'll see.
And so, who stepped into his position? Is it Gilles de Ferran?
I believe so, yes.
And then you have the IndyCar link there, don't we?
There's the IndyCar link, absolutely. I mean, did Eric actually leave McLaren, or did he just step down from his role? I wasn't entirely clear on that.
I'm sure he's gone. I'm sure he's totally gone.
Yeah, I'd have thought so, because if he was going to stay within McLaren, I think they would have managed it better.
Well, I don't remember hearing anything or reading anything that he's taken up this new role. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as it's been reported to me, he's gone. Otherwise, I'd know of or might have heard of a position which I could turn around and say, yeah, well, he's still at McLaren. I don't know where. Maybe he's in catering. I don't know. But as far as I'm aware, as far as I'm aware, he's gone.
He is out of there.
Yeah.
So he's off to pastures new.
Yep.
So again, jury's still out if and when we'll ever see Arrows, doing anything worthwhile. I doubt it this year. For certain.
It's not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year. I think it's going to be. You're going to see
2021.
Well, they were supposed to get podiums by Barcelona, weren't they? And that hasn't happened. But that was last year as well, though, wasn't it?
Supposed to be challenging Mercedes in 2015, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, let's not rag on McLaren too much this time round. Anyway, so.
Nah, it does seem like kicking a dead horse at the minute. Yeah. I think that was kind of all of the major news. It was just an interesting thing which I sent to you a bit earlier because it's a bit of fun. I say a bit of fun, must have been terrifying in the car. During the Formula 3 race, one of the cars pulled a massive wheelie going down a couple of corners.
That's right. It was going towards. It's not Luffield. It is. Hang on a second. Coming out of Stowe.
Yeah.
Coming out of Stowe towards the pit entrance. That's where I thought it was anyway. There's a little ridge, and that's where it occurred. But man, what a wheelie that was!
It was on his back. It looked like a plane had just decided to take off, and he just pulled back on the yoke, and the nose just lifted off, and it was just hurtling along on its two rear wheels.
What do you do in that situation?
Well, there's not much you can do because steering is going to do diddly and squat. And maybe dab your brakes, but that's going to really hurt when it comes down, isn't it?
Yeah,
given you sit on the floor on those things.
There's no feather in it, is there? It's either you keep your foot planted and hope that it doesn't rise up, or you dab the brakes and it slams into the ground.
Yeah, that's going to be unpleasant.
Yeah. It was good fun to see. And also DRS, you was going to mention DRS.
Oh yeah, so they've added a third DRS zone to Silverstone. And I think it seems to be a thing they're doing this year is 3 DRS zones on most circuits, whereas typically we've had 2 in the past. But what was different here is the DRS zone extended into turn 1.
Yep.
And for those of you who aren't following the laws of physics, no rear wing. The rear wing creates the downforce, which helps you go around the corner, slows you down. If that isn't providing the same amount of downforce, you tend to go in a straight line.
That's right. Or if you try and turn the corner, then you end up spinning like a clock.
Yes, of which there were a couple of examples throughout the weekend. I'm sure we'll get to those.
Oh, don't worry. We're very, very near one already, actually.
Well, since that's about all the news I can think of, would you like to inform everyone?
Okay, free practice then. There was a bit of argy-bargy between Magnussen and Alonso. I think it was going through turn 1 and Village, and it was a case of, he cut me up, he slowed down, blah, 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 blah. I think he went to the stewards and nothing was to come of it. Although it was a bit, Magnussen was getting his elbows out a little bit, as we know that he will do. And, Magnussen being reported for being unconductly on the circuit and, not very pleasant on the circuit. It's not real news anymore, is it? It's just you're going to turn up to the race weekend. He's going to be a bit of a dick. In
other news, Grosjean had a crash and blamed Ericsson.
Yeah, I was just going to come to that because Grosjean did bin it at turn 1. Possibly because of DRS, the DRS you've just mentioned going through the turn 1. And
quite a few drivers weren't happy with it. I know Lewis said it was an unnecessary danger.
I think he's right. Because if you put that zone there and it's up to the driver to choose whether or not to use it, then they're all going to push to use it. Because they don't want to give anything to any other driver and seem like, I'm the only guy that puts the DRS turned off through that corner. And so they don't want to be seen like that. They're all battling each other. They're all animals that want to win. And sometimes that has to be reined in a little bit so they don't cause themselves injury because they will just keep their foot flat. You could go through the DRS turn 1 and turn the DRS off. And a couple of drivers were doing that. It appears that Grosjean was just about to do that with his finger and turn the DRS off. He hit a bump, which then sent the car out of control, and then it slammed him into the wall. He lost his left front. It totally destroyed it. And he lost a lot of time on the circuit as well. It needed a new monocoque. So... Wow. I think he didn't take part in FP2 because of that as well. So he lost a lot of time on that just because the circuit have turned around and said, okay, right, here's a new DRS. I think all the circuits have been told to put as many DRS or at least 3 DRS zones in their circuit because the racing isn't that great without it. And so it's papering over something here. That's what it feels like, anyway. But
no, I do get that. I will say this though, as far as having that zone there and drivers not liking it. I mean, these are allegedly, reputedly, so I'm told, the best drivers in the world.
Mm.
Now, if they just can't be trusted, I mean, and we have seen this a few times in the past. I'm thinking Indianapolis 2005, where the drivers were told you can lift off in that corner to stop your tyres going pop. They wouldn't. And then that led to that whole fiasco there.
Yeah.
And then you also had, I mean, this is why we have the VSCs now, because drivers couldn't be trusted to slow down under double waved yellows.
Yep.
So we have VSCs. This really is a giant kindergarten, isn't it?
It
Effectively.
is. But you can't blame them for doing that because they're given the opportunity to do it.
I think a measure of self-control should be a requirement to be a driver. Some self-control and some carcraft. Is that no driving? What's the word I'm looking for there? Roadcraft. There you go.
Right. I don't know because if you have two drivers, let's say Bottas and Hamilton, and they go back into their engineers meeting, and Bottas is going through turn one with his DRS open, but Lewis is just a bit shy of it, and so he drops the wing, he goes through the corner, and then reactivates it because that's what the system would allow you to do. And his side of the garage might turn around and say, "Well, look, he's going through there. You're going to have to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to go anywhere near him during the weekend." You're forcing that driver to possibly have an accident. Or someone is forcing that driver. They're pushing the limits. And so sometimes I think I liked the third DRS zone, but I think going into turn one, that should have been the line drawn there. Along the pit straight, that's where it should have been. And at the very beginning of the corner, it shuts off. It's just simple. I think it's safety as well.
I do get that. And I understand the safety aspect. I like when you have something like we used to have back in the day where you could have someone like Prost would do an entire race on one set of tyres because he had that ability. Now, if you had a driver who could take turn one with the DRS open, I'm not saying every car should be able to make it, but if you had one who can do it because he's that good with his car control and feathering the throttle and whatever you need to do to get through it, I'm fine with that. Now, the problem is most of them either think they're that good or are just bloody minded, like you said, and that leads to a crash, leading to more rules saying, oh, you can't do that. And that's kind of why we're in that situation now where you have the whole, oh, you can only move once in a braking zone to stop passing. It's because you can't, they don't trust them. There's no respect there for the racecraft and for each other, and that just annoys me. It just feels like it's so artificial at this point.
Yeah,
it's just a bit So I like the DRS through turn one, and I'm like, look, if you've got the balls to do it, that's great. I think it should be harder, maybe, so you're much less incentivized to use it. But if you're one of the specials, like one of the greats who can do it, more power to you.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts.
No, I can see that argument, and I kind of like that argument as well, because it does separate them as well, doesn't it? You do have the elite that can actually go through there, but then again, is it the car that can cope with it, or is it the driver that can cope with it?
Certainly, if you have more mechanical grip than aero grip, and again, let's just get yes, DRS for every turner. There'll be less reliant on aero grip, back to mechanical grip, better racing. Yes, do it, Charlie. You're listening.
Let's just remove rear wings. Yeah.
Yes, get rid of them.
Well, yes, that was nice and simple.
There you go. We've fixed Formula One again. Go us.
Good stuff. Okay, FP2, Grosjean didn't take part, as I said, and the annoying thing for me was because I wanted to go this Friday as well. I did ask for the Friday, but it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Martin Brundle was doing his normal grid walk thing that he goes around the track and reports from certain points of the track. And where I was lucky enough to get inside the track, he was at the corner, at one of the corners where I watched most of the race from. I was like, oh, you son of a gun. Son of a gun.
I could have had a restraining order right now.
Exactly, yes. Anyway, nothing really else happened in FP2. FP3, though, was Hartley's show, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a massive off. He brought out the red flag, and I feel that Halo did some work in this crash as well. Because Hartley came up to, I forget which, it was down the Wellington Straight, I think it was. Hang on. Yeah, it was going into Brooklands.
Okay.
And his suspension failed? It looks like the suspension failed.
It looks like a suspension failure, yeah. All of a sudden, the wheel just... Do you remember a few years ago we had it with... It was with Toro Rosso and with Science, I think, and the wheels just popped off?
It was Buemi at China, yeah.
There you go. It was very reminiscent of that. The wheel just suddenly went chink, and it stayed attached.
Yeah.
But it just suddenly went chink.
Yeah, it just ripped itself. It just decided, nope, no, thank you very much, and ejected itself. And he found himself put into a spin and he ended up bouncing across the gravel trap as well, and the gravel trap nearly rolled him over. Do you know what it reminded me of? When I very first saw it, it was, 99, I think it was. Greg Moore had an accident in IndyCar, and he bounced across the infield, and he was killed in this accident. He landed against a concrete wall on his head. And it really reminded me of that. I don't think Hartley went over that far, although I think the Halo did hit the barrier. But there's plenty of barriers there, and there's plenty of tyres there as well. And so he was safe.
Yeah.
Unlike poor old Greg Moore, who was killed instantly. But yeah, man, this was a stark reminder that they're not fallible. These cars can fall apart, and the beautiful high def slow-mos on these racetracks now. You saw when that car hit the brakes, the wheel just kind of rotated and it destroyed the whole assembly of that suspension, and it just kind of rolled across it. The wheel carried on turning, although the brake inside of it is slowing everything down. And it just corkscrewed everything off.
I've just found a video of it on the F1 Twitter channel.
Yeah.
And it's the onboard video, and it's terrifying. Yeah, the wheel just suddenly, the suspension just fails, throws the wheel into the side of the chassis. It flies over the gravel, getting a bit of air, which gravel tends to do, and then it just throws him into those tires at maybe a 30-degree angle. It's I mean, I think he would have walked out even without the halo, but having the halo there definitely stopped that tire mat and everything. Kind of doing. Yeah, the wheel just destroyed that suspension.
Yeah. There's nothing left of it. Although on the super slow-mo, you can see the bottom wishbones just slowly disappear behind the car as they're ejected off. The wheel was turned, and then it just says, goodbye. But yeah, that was a write-off. And so his car didn't even take part in qualifying because of that.
Well, again, not wanting to spoil, but let's just have a quick chat here. He didn't take part in the race because they were still trying to finish the car before the race started and were unable to do that. I cannot remember the last time they were unable to rebuild a car after a failure, like having overnight to do a car.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because Grosjean's car, they built that from the monocoque up.
Yeah.
From FP2, and he managed to get into qualifying. I know there's a night and a morning in between that. But for that to happen, and then for it still not to be ready on the race day, you still have that night to work on it, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think about is because Toro Rosso are based out of Italy, I believe, maybe not being close to their factory hindered them somewhat. But again, they're always flying in parts overnight if they need to. And it was in FP3, so they had all of Saturday. And I'm sure if they needed to play one of their jokers or, take a penalty for having the crew work overnight to get the car done, I'd have thought they would have been able to. But yeah, I don't know why they were unable to get the car fixed. I've just not looked into it. But I just can't remember the last time a car's been unable to take part in the race because of a crash the day before.
There were rumours that Hartley wouldn't be taking part in the race anyway. Now, whether that happened and then all of a sudden he got the okay and then they had to rebuild it, I don't know. But that was some of the rumours I was reading, that he wasn't going to be taking part in the race itself.
Ah, well, yeah. Oh, I just found some news we missed.
Oh, go on then.
Apparently, the F1 having talks about potentially awarding points all the way down to 20.
Okay, do you want to do that now? Should we do that now?
Oh, that's what it says.
Okay, right. Points down to 20. This is to help Williams and McLaren, isn't it?
Well, it only really helps if they start... If it's keeping the whole rules about if you get points, you get prize money attached to it. And because Bernie used to have a thing, was it if you scored a point, you got your air transport for free?
Yeah, but that was when you was it was first to sixth.
Oh, I don't know if they carried it on, but yeah. I don't know. It just seems.
I like the from the winner down to 10th. I like that. That seems to get in the top 10. You have to fight. If you're sat 11th and you're looking at 12th, yeah, it might be a point difference, but you're still getting points. You're going home with points. It seems like a special award for taking part point, doesn't it?
It does. I can't help but feel they're actually only doing this to be mean to Grosjean, so that no one else will ever be referred to as pointless in Formula One. You'll notice no one's saying about Sorokin either at the minute.
No,
He's
that's
still
true.
Score.
It's still Grosjean, isn't it?
So yeah. So anyway, so I just saw that bit of news. And I just wanted to mention that. We'll see. I mean, with MotoGP, they award points a lot further down the field, but you've got a lot more bikes taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Qualifying. This is already about Williams' first half because Stroll lost it at Brooklands and he lost it under braking and dropped it into the gravel trap, which was a shame. Red flag brought everything out, and it's exactly the same place that Hartley had his incident as well.
Yeah.
Once that red flag was recovered and the Stroll was, it was down to like 3 people to get through to the the top 15, I think it was.
Well, it was only 2 because, I suppose so, but we kind of knew that Williams were going to be out in Q1 because Williams, and we knew Hartley wasn't taking place.
No, that's right.
So it was really, it was which 2 people were going to draw the short straw.
That's right. And Sorokin, he went across another gravel trap. He ended up, he locked up his wheels. I forget where it was now, but he almost nearly slammed it into a wall as well. So he ended up coming last in the qualifying. So during that, did he bring out the red flag? I think he brought out the red flag. No, he got into bother because when the red flag came out for Stroll, he was going towards the pits, as you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go around, finish your lap and get into the pits as soon as you can. And the red light was flashing on the entrance to the pits. And he ignored it and went round again. So nothing was really said about it. And there was no fine or anything like that. I think people were looking at Williams and going, no, just let them go. Let them get away with it. They need to try and do something like they have in MotoGP, and I also think in WEC we see this where if you're really struggling, you kind of are given leniency, extra power modes or less weight or what have you, to try and help you get on a level pegging. Yeah,
I know with MotoGP it used to be that I think Ducati or Suzuki, until they scored like podiums or something like that, were given like extra soft tires or like higher engine modes or something like that. But once they got that, those were taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's painful seeing Williams where they are, especially at Silverstone, especially where Frank Williams showed up as well.
That's right.
Looking a little rotund, it must be said.
Yeah. I don't think you can give him weight penalties because then that means you have to give weight to everyone in in the paddock and then remove it for the people that are a little bit slower. That's like feeding a greyhound before a certain race and then
they already have weight though. They already have weight. Did you see the Ted's notebook at Silverstone last time?
They do have weight. Yeah. But they get to choose where they position that and it helps them as well.
They get to choose where they put it, but what I'm saying is you can... The cars are so insanely light, they have to put the extra weight in regardless. And, you know, that's why when you have heavier drivers, they're feeling a bit more penalised. I don't know if they've changed it now, where they do the waiver cars separate. But anyway, it used to be that if you had a lighter driver, you had much more control over where you put your ballast.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
There was also a thing, I think, when they were doing that, they said they spend all this money trying to make the cars as slim and as light as they can. And then they use the most expensive material to place around the car to bring up the weight of the car. Pretty much. There's something not right there, isn't there?
No, but it's very Formula One, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, very. Okay, so Q1, we lost Hartley, Stroll, Sirotkin, Van Dorn, and Sainz. He was the surprise of being lost out in Q1, really.
Yeah, something wasn't working terribly well with the Renault engine, was it?
No, that's right. Q2, there was nothing really to write home about, so we lost Ericsson, Gasly, Alonso, Perez, and Hulkenberg. And in Q3, Vettel was fastest on the first blood type thing, and then Hamilton just put a storming lap together. And just...
Oh, yeah.
He did pip him. I suppose it would be classed as pipping him, but flipping hell, man, he left it all on the track. And what I love to see, he got out of the car, and it wasn't an initial interview by Martin Brundle. He was physically shaking about that, and almost very teary as well.
Ah.
I don't know whether that's... No, I'm not going to say that's acting or anything like that. That was just... He'd had such a massive adrenaline rush. He was physically shaking and he had tears in his eyes now. I don't think that was sweat either. That was, I left everything on that track. You ain't going to get any more from that car.
You got your tinfoil hat around, mate? We might need it later.
It's somewhere around here. It is somewhere around here.
Have a theory. Speak about it at the end of the race though, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lewis Hamilton got pole position, Sebastian Vettel was second, Kimi Räikkönen was third, Bottas was fourth, Verstappen was fifth, Daniel Ricciardo was sixth, Kevin Magnussen was seventh, Grosjean was eighth. How did he get there? And Charles Leclerc was ninth, and Ocon was 10th. So there you go. There's your grid.
Yeah, just a few penalties. Well, not so much penalties, but Stroll failed to set a time because he spun off, as you said. So was allowed to take part because he was, apparently within 107% throughout practices.
Mm-hmm.
They also changed his chassis. So he started from the pit lane.
Yep.
Brendan Hartley also changed his chassis, was allowed to start from the pit lane, but ultimately did not start. And Sirotkin also started from the pit lane because of another chassis change. So, yeah.
The Williams, I think it was just too skittish. Going under braking, it was just spinning them off and throwing them off all over the place. So I think that's why they changed the chassis.
And again, they were so far down it didn't particularly hurt them. Well, it very nearly hurt them, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, starting from the pit lane, when you're starting at the back, it's kind of much of a muchness, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny watching them in sitting at the end of a pit lane with all the mechanics of the tyre blankets and the cars and everything there.
Yeah, it's something very, I suppose, at Silverstone as well, where you have that high wall in the pit lane as well. So the people can't actually see you. So it's kind of like the naughty boy area, isn't it? Where you're like...
It is. They were sitting on a naughty step.
Yeah. Okay, right, the race. Should we get into it then?
Before we get to the race, a couple of things that I just wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Jenson Button is awesome. Let's have him doing the grid walk from now on. Get rid of Martin. He's old. He's boring. I want Jenson to do him from now on.
Okay. I could go with that. I don't think you're going to get rid of Martin that easily, though. I'd rather have Jenson than Nico Rosberg.
Oh, dear God, yeah. And have you seen that current advert they've got for the Drink and Drive campaign?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it.
it irritates me, aggravates me.
Let's just say that Nico Rosberg won't be acting in any mainstream movies anytime soon.
No, I think that's safe to say, definitely.
Yeah, and his wife's there as well, staring at him, and he's like, "No, I'm not having one. I'm driving," and she's just
still driving.
Yeah, give over. I like the message it is giving, but there's a couple of cuts of that advert as well where it's really short and it's just him saying no to a beer and his mates, his apparent mates. You're like, yeah, you've never met these guys in your life, have you? And also the long version is, you just need 1 second. Oh, you just need 1 millimeter. Oh, you just need one boat for your
who says
collection.
Who says you're 1 second away from first place? No. You're 1 second off the lead. Okay, damn it. Have you never watched a race before? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, that's an irritating thing. And yes. And
then Nico decides, if I'm only 1 second, here we go, and I'll take the lead.
Yes, because I didn't know that, because I can't see the guy in front.
It's that easy. Like, flipping hell, man. Oh.
The other thing I wanted to just note was, finally, after, again, because people listen to this podcast, and we have the ear of the FIA, obviously, they resorted to hard, medium, and soft of a tyre allocation.
Huzzah!
So yes, I knew if it was the hard tyre, the medium tyre, or the soft tyre, it was great.
It works and everything, doesn't it?
It does. You don't have to be a fucking genius to figure it out. Is it the soft tyre? It will degrade quicker. If it's the medium tyre, it's in the middle. If it's in the hard one, it's like racing on chalk.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I guarantee you we don't see it for the rest of the year.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We didn't even see the hard tyre this weekend, but still. It was nice that was the allocation that was put out for us.
Yeah. Okay, right. The race. Let's get into this race because
Lewis.
It was awesome, man. I really enjoyed this. How do you want to do this? Because there's a couple of collisions, there's a couple of safety cars, there's some. I'd rather go from the beginning to the end, but not point by point. But
no. Well, I think turn two. Well, let's start with the start.
Yeah.
As tradition, because we had a bit of a slow getaway for Lewis.
Yeah.
Allowing just about everyone to get past him. He got it back in the second phase and was fighting with Bottas. Yeah, Bottas got past him, and then he got a little love tap from Kimi.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, but Team 4 was going on. Now, there you go.
Oh, okay, fine, yeah.
Yeah, Kimi totally decided to take him out. That was it. He went, oh, look, there is the Hamilton in front of me. I will remove him because I am in a red Ferrari and he is my enemy.
If you're going to do it, if you're going to do a Kimi impression, you've got to do it properly. There's Lewis. I will hit him now.
I'll go to hit Lewis.
I was going to hit him with the car.
Push him up into the side. Don't have a gun to me. Where's my steering wheel? Oh, man. Okay. Lewis had a bad getaway, yes. I think we all agree on that. Did Kimi hit Lewis on purpose?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Nope. No. There's no way you can be that precise with two moving targets and then just touch wheels like that. It's just not happening. Kimi locked up. Kimi locked up twice. Mm-hmm. And just understeered into him by accident. Lewis left him loads of room. We know that. Lewis is not at fault on this. Kimi is at fault. He got his 10-second penalty. He had it. It was double what Vettel got in the last race as well. And yet, he finished just behind him. So I've got no problems in what happened and the 10-second penalty either. It's unfortunate. It's not great for the spectators there who wanted Lewis to win. But I think it gave you an entertaining race watching Lewis work his way back up because I thought he was fantastic. Absolutely.
Lewis's race was absolutely amazing because he had to work at it. Mm. Obviously, he had a sulk on in the car and had to have Bono effectively G him up to get him through.
Tug on his tinkle.
So I didn't want to say, but yeah, basically. But yeah, all this. Now look, I have no doubt Ferrari have done some shady shit over the years in Formula One, and I have no doubt if they thought they could get away with shady shit, they would do. But one thing they can't do, and you cannot do, is you cannot plan to collect a car and take them out on circuit. Neither, to the best of my knowledge, only once in the entire history of Formula One has any driver been asked to do something like that, and that was Nelson Piquet Jr., who was a go nowhere driver who was driving on his names basically, on the coattails of his famous father, in a team which was Fernando Alonso's manager was running it, and it was basically existed for Fernando Alonso. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason that happened then. It's just Kimi Räikkönen. If you asked him, I'd like to see the scene where Arriva Bene is sitting there in the driver's briefing and says, okay, in the chance that Hamilton bogs down in the start and going into turn 2, he's alongside you, I want you to hit him.
Yeah, plan 26.
Plan 26. Multi 26. I would love to see what would Kimi say to that while eating his Magnum ice cream.
His response would be, well, what I would do, I would drive into him and then I will continue and get the points.
I think it'd be, so what? I'm not allowed to drive my own race now?
Yeah, and he did say that, didn't he?
I was going to get to that a bit, but yeah. It's the reason why Mercedes and Ferrari seem to be collecting each other these days is because they're occupying the same piece of tarmac. Mm-hmm. Because Ferrari have gotten better and Mercedes have gotten worse, and so they have met in the middle.
I get what you're saying. I wouldn't say Mercedes got worse. I think Ferrari have really caught up. Nay, possibly passed.
Still, my point is, you're now at a situation where they are occupying the same piece of road. There was a reason why Vettel and Webber used to be colliding every 5 seconds, because they were equally matched in equal cars. They were occupying the same piece of tarmac.
Same as Hamilton and Rosberg.
Same as Grosjean and Magnussen.
Same. Okay.
Ocon and Perez.
Yeah. Same as Hamilton and Massa, and Hamilton and what was his name? Maldonado at one point as well. Yeah. Because they were equal standings.
If your cars are kind of equivalent performance, your drivers with equivalent play, you're going to be going for the same bit of tarmac over and over again. Yeah. So of course you're going to be collecting each other, and it's unfortunate for the fans who want maybe Lewis to run off into the distance. I know for a fact I would have quite liked that because I had points riding on that, but still, it gave me a much more entertaining race.
Yep.
So I'll take the entertaining race over that. So I don't believe for an instant that there's a conspiracy, and it happens all the time with people saying, oh, well, it's the FIA are doing these extra penalties to harm Lewis's chances or doing this or doing that.
No. There's no way. Right, okay. I'm willing to take the hit on this, and if you want to email me and slag me off, then please do at boxboxbox@grandprixpodcast.com, or you can Twitter me at Grand Prix Pod as well. This comes from diehard Lewis fans, and I am well known as not being a diehard Lewis fan. I'm a Formula One fan, and I like a good race. If Vettel was streaming off into the distance, I'd want someone to beat him. Lewis was streaming off into the distance, so I want someone to beat him. If Alonso was doing it year after year after year, I'd want someone to beat him. I didn't want Alonso to win like his 2 titles at the time because he was very dominant, and I wanted Kimi Räikkönen to win at that point then. So I feel that this is Hamilton's fans turning around and saying, well, this is a conspiracy and Ferrari just knocking us off. No, I want to see Hamilton up there and giving us all a good race. I want this all to be classic, and it's not being classic, but you need Hamilton up there. I laugh sometimes when he breaks down. I sometimes go, oh man, I wish he was there to create something. But in the end, I want all 20 drivers to go round and score as many points as they can and give me an entertaining race. I don't believe that Ferrari would turn around to one of their drivers and say, if you just get the chance, give him a tap. I don't think that would happen. It might happen in like gallows humour. Well, if you're next to him, give him a tap. I don't think it would be meant as, no, give him a tap. But you know what I'm exactly saying. I think it's bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
So I'm just picturing it like a Cobra Kai situation. Sweep the leg.
Yeah.
But Sensei, sweep the leg. It is bullshit. And the thing is, I think whenever you have a dominant driver, we saw it with Vettel, we saw it with Schumacher. To be fair, though, I do think with the Schumacher era, Ferrari were probably getting a little bit of a push from Bernie.
Yeah,
not direct, but in so much as the vetoes and everything they did. The whole mechanism was built for Ferrari to dominate and to play the system to the best of their knowledge, which they're still doing today to an extent.
At that point, Ferrari hadn't won for a long, long time, and they were in the doldrums. So, yeah, it was all geared up to get Ferrari back on top.
And fine, fair play. But I do feel there's a certain amount of arrogance that comes from Ferrari, deservedly or not. I have frequently mentioned that the next time they say they're going to leave Formula One, please open the door and invite them to fuck off.
Yeah.
Because I care not if Ferrari's in Formula One or not. Yes, it's great having Ferrari in Formula One. And yes, I think Ferrari and Formula One would be less if they went. But I'm sick to death of them holding everyone hostage by threatening. It's like, no, do it. Please do it. Because the second you've done it, that bargaining chip is off the cards forever.
Yeah. That's
Plus,
right.
I would love a Ferrari LMP1 car. Discussion for a different day, but I would love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole, Ferrari. Look, I think this first came from Niki Lauda, and Niki runs his mouth sometimes. I don't think Niki legitimately said they did it on purpose. I think he just said I think what he was trying to say is it's happening so often, you have to question, is it coincidental? It's a joke I've made in the past. It's a line from James Bond.
Uh-huh.
Once as an accident, twice as a coincidence, 3 times as enemy action.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to say something like that, but someone's obviously picked up on it and has now started saying, oh, well, it's Mercedes are saying it's deliberate actions. And so now the media are all saying, Mercedes say Ferrari deliberately rammed them. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, okay, I didn't know that Lauda had said that. I saw Toto Wolff turn around and say their tactics, talking about their tactics, and I heard Lewis Hamilton turn around and say, I don't like the tactics that they used. Mm-hmm. Now, that is referring to the little nudge. Okay. Oh, man. It does scream of a bit of desperation. When it's not going Lewis's way, it's always someone else's fault. Someone else knocked him, someone put the wrong tyres on, something went wrong. But whenever he's winning, he's always blessed.
Yeah,
so,
I saw you like that tweet.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And it's fine. I don't follow him on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. No desire to.
Mm.
I think he's a talented driver. Fuck it. You still got your tinfoil hat on, yeah?
Yeah, still on, mate.
Yeah, the reason I think he was so despondent, because I still think he's going to quit at the end of the year, and this was his last British Grand Prix. I straight up do. I think that's what happened. I think he thought he was going to win here, go on to win this championship, do a Rosberg, because I still think he wants to out Rosberg at doing a Rosberg.
Right, okay. And then he'll do the Heineken ad next year.
Oh, I'll be fine with that. But I imagine this, he wins the World Championship and up on the podium announces there and then he's retiring.
Uh-huh.
He'd do that. That's what I think he wants to do. And I think the fact he didn't win this one is now him going, I didn't win my last British Grand Prix. I still think he's going to retire.
Okay. I wish I'd taken this tinfoil hat off now because, man, you're pulling me in. You really are. It's all part of the plan, isn't it? It's all like in memory of his last season. It'll be like, and like sepia shots of Lewis Hamilton lifting up the trophy at the British Grand Prix. And, oh, man.
Because he loves the close fight, this final titanic battle to the end against a Ferrari. So it's a different car. You can't just say it's because the car was winning.
Yep.
But they stole one of the moments. It's the British Grand Prix. They stole it from him. They stole it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the collision between them two sorted out, I feel. The other what the fuck moment as well was Perez skidding across the exit of the pit lane while the Williams were coming up towards him. That was
nearly collecting them, yeah. What do you think Stroll was thinking as he came up there? What?
He was going, oh shit, we've got to turn around. Turn around, guys. Turn around. We're facing the wrong way.
Yeah. Do a barrel roll.
Yeah. Oh, that's got to be some scary shit going on there when you see the car.
I legitimately think that will lead to some action in the background or something like that, where there'll be a rule about releasing the cars from the pit lane, maybe. Because isn't it supposed to be the cars have got to clear turn 2 before they're released?
I thought so as well.
Yeah. If it wasn't before that, it will be now. It'll be like all cars have to pass turn 2 before.
Surely all cars have got to pass the end of the pit lane where you're allowed to join the track. And it'll be like the pit lane line, wouldn't it? Surely all the cars have to pass there first before you release the cars. Or at least it's all safe to release the cars. I don't know.
You'd think so.
Yeah, so, poor old Perez, he got tangled. I forget who he got tangled with. But also the Hassies touched as well, didn't they?
They did. They bumped uglies.
Yeah, genius. Well done, Grosjean and Magnussen. I've only seen this incident once. I think it's more of a Magnussen thing than a Grosjean thing. And Magnussen had a bit of a bite taken out of his floor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they continued anyway. And it was...
No, Grosjean has apologised for causing the crash.
Oh, he caused it, did he?
Apparently. I guess Ericsson was nowhere in sight. So.
That's right, yeah. Jesus, man, that guy needs to go now, as far as I'm concerned.
Who, Grosjean?
Yeah, he's got to go now. He's got to either buck up his ideas now, before the end of midterm, or get out. He's got to go, because I think Haas will be looking at getting rid of him.
Are we going to do report cards at the midterm? Because I'm up for that.
I don't mind sticking that in, yeah.
Maybe at the end, maybe after the Hungarian Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do something in the summer. We'll do a little... midterm report card for the drivers.
Okay, cool.
Must do better. See me.
Yeah. Okay, once the race was going, Kimi did a nice little move on Ricciardo, which was good to see. And then it kind of pitted down, didn't it?
Well, we had Lewis kind of carving his way through the field, which was fun to watch. There was some good overtakes there, which I liked. There was a great battle between Kimi and Verstappen.
Yep.
And Ricciardo, to a bit. Ricciardo kind of fell back a while. Then Kimi seemed to get a strop. And it was I don't think I've ever heard Kimi lose his cool on the radio like that. And he was saying something he was convinced he'd had damage on his front wing. And they were saying, your wing is fine. And he was saying, well, can we do something when we come in? And I think they said, because he said, if we don't do something, we'll never pass them. And they said, no. And he just suddenly goes, oh, so I'm not allowed to even, have an idea now. Or something like that. And it was just the weirdest message I've ever heard from Kimi. It's something I expect from Vettel or Hamilton. To hear it coming from Kimi, it was just like, wow.
That's a frustrated driver, though, isn't it? That is a driver which...
You know what it is? He's just unhappy he was asked to crash like that.
Yeah, I've done what you want. And now you're telling me I can't think for myself. I feel that his lead is a little too short, and he's not allowed to, as he said, think for himself and try. He's thinking about strategy as he's going round, and then he just gets cut off, and they're like, "No, we won't do that. We got a 10-second penalty. We'll deal with that after that." And I feel that he's been cooped up a little bit. He's not being allowed to express himself and try and get out of the hole that he's kind of dug himself into.
Yeah.
Which
it's a bit of a shame. I was going to ask you about the penalty. Do you think that was overly harsh?
No.
No, you think 10 seconds was good?
I think that was all right. He's he's put a car at the back of the field, and he's continued without any damage really. I don't know. I maybe would have gone 5 seconons.
Yeah, I think I'd have gone 5 seconds myself as well.
It was a racing incident as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the official first corner, was official first braking zone, really, isn't it? And yeah, 10 seconds. I can see why. I can't really argue against it, but I think I would have gone for 5 seconds instead. He needed a penalty, definitely, because he screwed up. But I think the 10 seconds worked out quite fairly. Because there was a stage midway through the race, Hamilton had caught up. He got past the Red Bulls and was behind the other guys, and he was within 10 seconds of Kimi Räikkönen. And so if Kimi Räikkönen pitted, then he would have been well behind him. So I think it worked out fair.
I found, well, not the full message, but a summary here. So basically, Kimi wanted to do his penalty early and then build a gap. And he wants to be aggressive in his battle with the Red Bulls, and Ferrari have told him to think about his penalty. And then he signs off, I'm not allowed to think anymore. That was a proper stroppy Kimi.
To think about his penalty. In other words, go over there, think about what you've done, and then come back to me in a minute.
Basically, yeah. And then Kimi basically signed off and go, you're not my real mom.
Oh, man. What did you think about Leclerc? Because he did a real good race up until his pit stop and then came out with a wonky wheel, didn't he?
So this comes back once again to my second favourite bugbear is pit stops in Formula One, which I think are too fast. I've said this before. I think the slowest pit stop we had today was like 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is still insanely fast. I saw the kind of the fastest pit stop times, like who had the best one. The best one I think was 2 seconds, 2.26 seconds was the fastest pit stop. And the fastest pit, so like that was the fastest for whatever team.
Yep.
And then the slowest in terms of what was the fastest for any team was like 2.6 seconds. So insanely fast. It's too fast. It's too complicated. You can't see what's going on. And it leads to things like that where the driver leaves with a wheel not fully attached, and that's it. The entire weekend wasted because you're in such a rush that your point, whatever fractions of a second to do the pit stop in, has wasted that entire weekend.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I think I would definitely like to see them go to maybe just one man per corner. I think one man per corner, then yes, the pit stops will be slower, but A, I can see what's going on. B, they have a much bigger impact on the race.
Yep.
In terms of what goes on. And C, you're a lot less likely to have incidents where someone leaves the pit lane without a bloody wheel attached.
I've just had a thought as well. Now, I know we've spoken about...
Have you taken... Is the tinfoil still on, man? Take it off. Take it off.
Okay, right. It is now off. Don't worry.
Okay.
I know we talk about this quite a lot, but it's a thing that we like to talk about. So we're going to continue to talk about it. But I've just had a thought. What about the regulation would be 2 men per side? Mm-hmm. And you could either choose, you could have the tactic of, okay, either 2 men work on one corner at a time. And so you got 2 men working on the front and then they run round to the rear and do that side.
Yeah.
Or you can have 4 guys working on one person per tyre.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the option there of spicing things up, whether you have 2 guys working on taking one off and then he runs around and starts drilling the other one on, and the other guy runs around once he's drilled the other one on to take the other one off. So you have teamwork there as well. Also, we're having a lot of one-stop races. So adding a bit of drama to the bit that really takes a bit of panache out of the race is only going to increase the interest in the races and the pit stops themselves.
I agree, yeah. I like the idea of having the option as well. So some teams might elect to 1 man per corner, or others might do the more IndyCar style of one pulling the tyre off and on and the other one on the jack gun.
Yep.
And doing it that way. And it'll be interesting to see different ways of doing the pit stop. Some will do it one way, some do it the others. They'll try and figure out what's the quickest way to do it. I reckon they could still doing it that way probably get maybe 6-7 second pit stops.
Yep.
I'd be fine with that. That's still insanely quick.
But it'd be something for us to watch and enjoy. And because my boy was going, that's really quick, 2 seconds to take a wheel off and then put a wheel on and then secure it. I said, yeah, it's quicker to actually do it than to actually say what's happened in front of you.
The other advantage would be you could actually see what's going on, because all you see now is a mass of bodies descend on the car and the car goes. And for all we know, all they do is they kind of just touch the car gingerly and off it goes.
Yeah. And the engineers doing the work themselves will be more likely to flag up that there's a problem with what's going on than actually just let it go. Yeah. It'll be all right. It'll be fine. I know they're working really quick, but you've got a case of a guy is struggling with a wheel, and so you're going to physically see him struggle with that wheel. The pressure will be on him, but you can see him struggling, and once he's done, then the car goes, and it's not a unsafe release.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I would like to see changed in, say, the 2021 regs, to just reduce the number of people that could be working on a car in a pit stop.
Yep.
You still need front and rear jackmen, so that's got to stay the same. But as it currently stands, you've got front and rear jackman. You have backup front and rear jackman in case the jacks fail. They don't bother just having another jack. There's literally 2 other people standing there with jacks on the ready. You've got 3 men per wheel, I believe it is. So you have 1 to take the wheel off. No, 1 on the jack, 1 to take the wheel off, 1 to put the wheel on, and then the same one back on the jack.
That's right. Yeah.
It just, and you can't see what's going on. I don't think we're ever going to go faster than a 2-second pit stop. I don't think it's physically possible. And if that's really important to people, what you can do is make that part of the weekend. They can still practice that. And what you could do is they have like, they used to have the military tattoos where the Navy would have the old field guns with the wheels and the cannons, and they'd kind of run it across an obstacle course.
That's it. They strip it down, yeah.
Yeah, it's something they haven't had to actually use as a skill, but they do it because of a show. Fine. If doing the quickest pit stop is an important part to people, then do it as a side thing. Have a car which will wheel in, and off it goes. See who can get the quickest pit stop there. See if you can get down to the fabled 1.5 second pit stop.
Yeah.
Without the wheel flying off.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're going to continue to talk about if there's still failed pit stops. If there's no failed pit stop next race, then I don't think we'll talk about it.
We probably won't, but what I think will happen is if we get another situation like we had a while ago where a tyre goes flying down the pit lane and collects a mechanic, I think then F1 will have to look at what they can do, because they've already banned non-essential personnel being in the pit lane during a race. What else can you do at this point? And they've got the fines for the unsafe releases, which are peanuts compared to the team's budgets.
Yeah.
And it unfairly punishes the driver for a mistake, which isn't, I know it's a team sport, I get all that. But again, with Charles Leclerc, who did an amazing job in qualifying, drove the wheels off of that car, to be told to park it because the wheel's not on properly.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, they also got a €5,000 fine for that as well.
That doesn't even cover the coffee budget.
No, that's right. Okay, what else happened? We had Ericsson. He brought out the first safety car, didn't he, at Abbey Corner?
Did have a first safety car at Abbey, and a great shot from the camera. Something I wanted to mention, actually. I don't know if you noticed this as well, but a lot of the camera angles that we've been seeing on the last few races are very high. So the cars look really slow. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
So you kind of would have them come in, and all of a sudden be like, oh my God, so-and-so slowing down, there's a problem. No, wait, no, it's just the camera angle's terrible. Have the cameras lower down, because the cars look faster. Just a general note to the FOM. But with this crash, they had one of those cameras that's embedded in the curb.
Yeah.
So when he flew over it, he went over it sideways. It was amazing.
It looked mega, didn't it?
It really did. That was really cool. And it looked like a really nasty crash. It looked like he properly buried that car into the tyre barrier.
Yeah.
But what it is they'd put an extra, like, double layer of tyres, and he'd kind of crashed right where that layer stopped, and it folded into one layer. So for one angle, it looked almost like when Schumacher went into the tyres at Silverstone way back when.
Yeah, it was that and High Kick Over Lylan when he went into the barriers in Spain.
Yeah.
It looked like that, but yeah, from another angle, it was nice and easy.
Yeah. And he got out and it was fine. And we had our first safety car. And again, we have Mercedes maybe questionable strategy as far as pit stop goes. What do we think? So Mercedes had already switched over to the mediums, which they were supposedly going to run to the end.
Yep.
Lewis had stretched out again, fair play to Lewis. He'd gotten the car all the way up to, he was P4?
I think he was definitely in the top 6, wasn't he?
He was definitely in the top 6. He had pitted 11 laps later, I think, than the first. His tyres were a lot fresher than everyone else's there.
Yeah.
And then safety car. Now, Vettel had already stopped, so Bottas was in the lead on the track.
Yep.
Bottas did not stop, and his tyres were substantially older, I feel. They should have gone to the end of the race, but they were a fair bit older. Vettel pitted again, got rid of his medium tyres and went on softs, and then Lewis didn't pit either, supposedly for track position. So now we had a situation... sorry, yeah?
Both Ferraris and both Red Bulls pitted at this point.
Yeah, so they're all on the softs. So now we're in a situation where the two Mercedes are on used mediums, Ferraris and Red Bulls are on new softs. Do you feel this was the right choice? Should Mercedes have at least maybe split the strategy?
I'm surprised that they didn't pull him in. Because
especially after the last time.
If you do pull him in, then you're only on as good a tyre as the person in front and behind you. So you've got a fair and equal playing field in which to either defend or attack. And you shouldn't really... If everyone pits, then you might lose one position, you might not lose one position. If everything's equal, then you all go in and then you all come out and you're still all in the same order. And you all have fresh tyres. It's like when the race is red flagged and then everyone puts new boots on. Everyone kind of moans about it, but them's the rules. Mm-hmm. Now, Mercedes not opting to do that. Yes, they gain certain points of track position, and I don't think Hamilton gained as much track position as he thought or his team thought he would.
All he gained, I think, was... No, I don't actually think he gained anything because the only person in front of him was Vettel, and Vettel still got out in front of him.
Right. And
he didn't lose track position.
Right.
But all he would have lost to would have been Kimi and maybe the Red Bulls.
And with that, he's still on older tyres than everyone else around him. Thus, he hasn't got a level and fair playing field in which to attack or defend. So I think Mercedes should have pulled them in at this point. I think it was a mistake.
I agree. I think Mercedes, maybe not with Lewis. With Lewis, I think you could get away with leaving him there because he was still lapping insanely quick on those medium tyres.
He was.
Up until that point. But Bottas, I definitely think they should have pit.
Right.
But I can see why they didn't because up until that point, when when Vitali and Seb were on the same tyre, Bottas just didn't seem to have pace to catch or pass Vettel. So maybe it was a case of keep Bottas in front and try and slow him down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This also brings us to Vettel telling the safety car to slow down. What? He's the one
Another
that
first.
normally he's on the phone saying, yeah, could you tell the safety car to speed up, please?
Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
What the hell?
I know. It's like, what? Because they made a big point talking about it's a new safety car this year. It's like the most powerful one they've ever had.
Yeah.
Because the F1 drivers are always complaining about it being too slow.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's too fast.
I haven't been given a reason why he said that. Now, whether that's he was sliding on his tyres or maybe he thought he was overheating his tyres, I don't know. I can't explain why he would turn around and say that.
The only thing I can think it might be is he thinks the Ferraris were better at switching on their tyres than the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So if it was slower, with their medium tyres would find it harder to get heat into them than he would with his softs.
Yep. That would make sense.
I can't imagine he was struggling in any way. I have to feel it was a strategic reason, especially since no one else was saying anything.
Unless there is a very, very fine line between the amount of air you get in the car going at a speed and the amount of power or heat you generate poodling behind a safety car. Maybe there was a very fine point where if you're going at full tilt, you can cool the car down perfectly. That's not a problem. And remember, they're going behind very hot cars very slowly, aren't they?
Yeah. Perhaps. It was just a strange message.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard that. I've never heard that. I know for a fact I've never heard that. So
never has it been uttered before, nor shall it ever be uttered again.
Yeah. So the safety car came in.
Yes.
And then the safety car came back out again.
It did.
Because one of our favourite drivers of the time at the moment, it's either Verstappen or it's Mr. Grosjean, had an accident. And it was Grosjean's turn this time around. And he collected Sainz. I think this was a racing accident again.
Racing incident.
Yeah. Racing incident again. Was it avoidable? Possibly. But then again, yeah, you're going to have the size of your stones checked after because you don't want that. But it was one of them things. I noticed the oversteer that he got and it just took him into Sainz going into turn one. Was it turn one? No, I don't think it was. It was into Cops, wasn't it?
I think it was Cops, yeah.
And yeah, that brought out another safety car.
It did, and it seemed pretty nasty the way it collected Sainz. It kind of tapped him from the rear, and all of a sudden, his nose is under the Renault, heading straight towards the tyre barrier.
Yeah,
it is with all the gravel. It bounces the cars a lot, and you're always worried, like we saw with Hartley's one, they're going to get some air.
Yeah, and I think they did get some air on this as well, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a very fine balance between gravel and runoff, but if you give them too much runoff, they'll just nick a mile, won't they?
Absolutely, but we've discussed ways they can mitigate that in the past with like. I still like the idea of some GPS thing where if you have all four wheels off, it kills your throttle.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Because I said, as Martin Brundle says, drivers only exceed track limits because they know they can. If you have a concrete wall there, they will not exceed the track limits.
Yeah.
So if you go off the track limits and your throttle suddenly cuts out, you're not going to do it.
Uh-huh.
Simple as that. And they absolutely have the technology to do that. Be it through GPS, be it through some sort of like LiDAR things or anything you want. They can totally do it if they were so inclined to do it. But if you did something like that, you could have tarmac runoff until the cows come home and no one would ever go off unless it was a spin or an accident.
That's right. That's right. The only thing that I would say about that is you could have that, but then you'd have to have race control, turn it back off for a certain driver. I'm not saying any driver, but let's say Verstappen goes over and goes down an escape road. and then he's got no control on his throttle whatsoever.
Oh, I'm not saying you kill it as if you turn it off, don't use it, but like a pit lane limiter or something like that comes on.
Yeah.
So you can still get out of that escape road, but it hurts you.
Yeah. It is a good idea. I like it. Man. Someone should give us a job somewhere, definitely.
Someone should. I think what we should do in the winter this year, you and I should come up with the ultimate Formula One with all our rules.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll put another pin on that, yeah.
Yeah. We'll write a little book and get a typewriter, type it all up, put it into a letter with a wax stamp and send it off to Mr. Ross Brawn.
Absolutely. He'll love it. He'll, without a doubt, hire us immediately.
Yeah. Okay, so we had a second safety car situation as well, didn't we? But
while the first one lifted my spirits, and I was like, yes, the second one we go, fuck's sake, no.
Can I just ask you about the incidents? Well, not the incidents as well. When it returned to racing, Bottas was in the lead for both situations.
Yes.
Do you think he backed them up a bit too much? Because there was a case of people coming down the main straight and going, oh, hang on, throw out the anchor because there's lots of stopped Formula One cars in front of me.
Maybe a little bit, but I think a lot of that's down to the way the pit lane entrance is.
Uh-huh.
So the pit lane is after Stowe, before Vale.
Yep.
Is the entrance. It effectively cuts out turns 16, 17, 18. So I think he had to do that because the safety car line is around 16, 17, I think.
Yeah.
So I feel that you have less time to let the safety car get away than you would do otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to slow them down. If it was a problem, I'm sure race control would have said something, especially after the first one. But they didn't, so I have to assume it is fan.
Yeah. Okay, fine. It just Constantina'd very quickly for my liking, but then again,
it definitely did.
once the lights go out, then he's in control of it. So it's up to him what he actually does with it, really, isn't it? So
yeah, we didn't even hear. We didn't hear Vettel complaining about it, so it can't have been that bad.
Yeah. Well, if someone was going to have a crash, it would have been Grosjean, but then again, he was already out. Yeah.
Very true.
And then we had, I know I've mentioned this at the start, but we had some beautiful aerial shots of the Mercedes, Ferrari going through Maggots and Beckett's, perfectly in sync with each other, perfectly distanced. And it was just a moment of, man, these are the top four racing for the race win. Any one of these can win, and they're in equal machinery. And this is what we want. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it from this moment onwards. I thought it was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. It was beautiful watching that, kind of formation driving. We had the Red Bulls coming back at them as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is going to get interesting. Unfortunately, now I don't think the Red Bulls touched. Max just had a problem, was it?
Max had a brake-by-wire problem. He said he had a brake-by-wire problem in the first corner or the third corner, and then it went away.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, he spun.
Yeah.
And it was...
and pulled over as well towards the very end.
Yeah. I mean, he'd done
lap.
90%, so he was classified. But, obviously outside of the points, which was a shame. And again, we had Ricciardo closing up. We thought, he might have a go. Fair play to Vettel and Bottas. They were having a great little fight at the front.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely thought that Bottas should be able to keep Vettel at bay because we were told repeatedly that you can't overtake at Silverstone.
Oh, no, it doesn't happen at all, does it?
Never happens. But it was a beautiful little lunge from Vettel. I don't think anyone was expecting it. I don't even think Vettel was expecting it, to be honest.
It appeared to me as because he'd tried it once before, or maybe twice before. He'd shown him where he wanted to go, and Bottas had covered it. And a couple of other drivers had done that as well. And then this time round, it was a case of Vettel went for it, and it felt as if he got alongside. He was like, "Oh, I'm doing this now, aren't I?" And then Bottas was, "Yeah, you're doing this." And Vettel was, "Okay, I'm already through, and I've broke, and I've made the corner, and I haven't touched anyone. Brilliant."
Yay!
I thought it was a superb move, and there was no lockup or anything like that. And I can't heap praise on that move enough. I think it helped with Bottas's tyres that were running out, and that was proven later on as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think his tyres were just short of actually making that stick.
I think if he'd pitted another 2 laps later, he'd have been in a much better position to hold it off. But
yeah,
wishes and horses and all that jazz. We did forget to mention the battle between Kimi and Verstappen before the safety car period.
Oh yeah,
because that was some great racing as well. That it was 1 second. It was Raikkonen going around the outside, then the inside, and then Verstappen coming back at him. It was great to watch, and all the time Ricciardo was getting closer as well. That was good fun.
And there was millimetres between them, and there was no touching, was there?
Yeah. I was going to say, if it was a different Ferrari alongside, that might have been a bit different.
Yeah, the torpedo would have been back again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was some epic racing. That really was. We also had Gasly and Perez touch.
Yes, we did. We did. I didn't see this at the time. I just heard about it after the fact.
Okay, right. Well, you know where Vettel got past Bottas?
Yeah.
And that was the Hartley corner that he had his incident at. It was down there. Gasly took a lunge. He caught the left-hand side of Perez's car, which sent him wide a little bit. Perez went to make the next corner, ran wide. Gasly went down on the inside and got him there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he got the position. But, yeah, you got some news about that, haven't you?
Well, we're going to save it for the end, but you can have it now. He's been given a penalty.
Yep.
I believe that man looks up. What penalty was he given? Yeah, come on. Just give me. Anyway, he's giving a penalty and he's lost his 5-second penalty. There you go.
Ah, okay.
So 5-second penalty, so he's lost a position and drops Gasly out of the points.
Oh. Okay.
That's a shame. Well, lucky for Perez, unlucky for Gasly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And, yeah, that was pretty much it. Vettel carried on. He was really uninterrupted until that point, was he? I know Hamilton got past Bottas. Kimi Raikkonen got past Bottas and his tyres were just shot. So there was no real recovery for him for that. Daniel Ricciardo was real close to Bottas towards the very end as well.
Probably would have gotten in with another lap. But, again, wishes, horses and all that jazz.
Yeah. And I thought a thoroughly entertaining race. I loved it. I really did.
It was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Lots of entertainment, which is what I want out of my Formula One race.
Yeah.
I want it to be entertaining.
Yeah. Should we talk about what happened straight after then? I know we mentioned it briefly at the start.
Oh, you mean the toys and the pram incident?
Yeah. Yeah.
Incidents. Yeah, sure. Rock on.
Okay. Well, Martin Brundle went down to interview them, taking their helmets off, etc. He got Vettel. He got Kimi Raikkonen. He looked around for Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton had disappeared.
Yeah, and disappeared. He bolted. Hadn't taken his helmet off. He just gone like a bloody bullet from a gun straight towards the cool-down room.
Yeah.
Didn't acknowledge his mechanics. Didn't acknowledge the fans. Didn't acknowledge Vettel or Raikkonen. He got out of his car and he walked off like he dropped a deuce in his underpants and he needed to go and wipe his ass.
Which is a real shame because I thought it was such a good recovery from him.
He should have been so proud of that performance. But that attitude at the end just kind of undercuts everything.
Look what he's done in this race. He went to plumb last. Mm-hmm. He went from pole position to plumb last within 3 corners. Then he was setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He was clearly one of the fastest cars on the pitch, and he overtook his teammate and one of the Ferraris that did him wrong towards the very end. So I don't really see. I know that he hasn't won in front of his crowd, and he's meant to he's been put on this planet to win in front of his crowd, or that's what he thinks. And yet he had the opportunity just to sit there and go, yeah, do you know what? I did my hardest. I was wronged at the beginning, but look, I made second. That's all I could do. That's the best I could want. He's practically unlapped himself from the whole grid.
And Kimi put his hands up in the interview and said, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I had a penalty. That was fair.
Yeah.
I got on with it. That's what I want to see. I want to see that.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you put your hands up. I done fucked up. My bad.
Yeah.
Had a penalty. No one's sitting there saying, I don't think the penalty was fair, or this was outrageous. Why should I have to? No. And that's one of the things I love about Kimi. He's just like, I like how you get the journalist trying to coax him to be controversial or say, I didn't deserve it. So, do you think you deserve a 10-second penalty? And he goes, well, I don't. It doesn't matter what I think. It happened.
One thing I did love, he got booed on the podium.
Yeah.
And his mannerisms were, I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
I dearly, dearly wish he just had an ice cream he could have been eating.
Yeah, saluted it to the ground and went, thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh man, that was brilliant. Okay, right. So what I'm going to say, I'll run through these and then I'll just throw you a little question because I have one for you. Sebastian Vettel won the race. Lewis Hamilton was second. Kimi Räikkönen was third. Valtteri Bottas was fourth. Daniel Ricciardo was fifth. Hülkenberg was sixth. Esteban Ocon was seventh. Alonso was eighth. Kevin Magnussen was ninth, and Sergio Perez was classified in 10th position after the
classified.
Classified, whatever you want to say it. How do you say it?
Classified.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I'm a bit posher than you. There we go.
Quite, yes.
I have a little quiz for you. Because this was a triple header, who was the only driver to stand on all three podiums out of these three races?
Oh, so the only driver to be on the podium here and in Austria and in
France.
Germany?
France,
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to have to be Vettel, isn't it?
It was Kimi Räikkönen.
Was it Kimi?
Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
Vettel wasn't on the podium in France.
Oh, yeah.
Hamilton wasn't on the podium in Austria.
No, you're right, because...
And Verstappen wasn't on the podium in Great Britain.
So there you go.
So he's had pretty good races, really.
Kimi's doing okay. I mean, how we're going to get to the championship standings, well, may as well do it now, isn't it?
Yeah, why not?
Let's pull it up. He is, so the standings as they currently are is in fifth place is Bottas with 104 points. Fourth place is Danny Rick with 106. Third place is Kimi Räikkönen with 116. And then Lewis with 163 and Vettel with 171. So, yeah, Kimi's doing pretty good for the old man of the thing.
Yeah. In the constructors, no changes whatsoever. So we have Haas in fifth position with 51 points. Renault in fourth position with 70 points. Red Bull in third position with 199 points. Mercedes in second with 267 points. And Ferrari leading the pack with 287 points.
There is one change that I think is worth noting is because of that penalty that Gasly got, giving Perez that point, Force India have moved ahead of McLaren now in the constructors. So they're at 6. McLaren is now down to 7th, but only 1 point separates them.
The slippery manoeuvre.
It's true. I mean, just to give you the back end of the field, though, you got Force India in 6th with 49, McLaren 7th with 48, Toro Rosso Honda with 19. If this keeps on, Toro Rosso will pass McLaren. Sauber with 16, and then Williams have 4 points.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's painful.
It is. It really is.
Okay, so, am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think I am. Should we go to our predictions that we had last time out?
Yes, let us do our prediction-y things.
Okay, contract stipulates, do you remember what you put down?
I think I do. I remember what I put down. I don't remember what you put down.
Okay, right. Well, pole position, I went for Vettel. And so I get nil point, although for a brief second I did have 1 point, which is a shame. And alas, you got another point because you went for Hamilton. So well done you, sir.
I feel you might claw this one back in the race.
For the race, you went because, you got pole position. You thought you was going to have it easy and you went with Hamilton, but no points for you.
See, this is where conspiracy is. You see, it's not Ferrari having any influence on Kimi. It's you. You had him take out Hamilton.
I have a bat phone. Yeah,
you do.
It's true.
You promised your second born in exchange for one favour.
Yep.
And you called it in.
Yeah, that was it. Even though Hamilton was down to third at this point, but yeah, that's right.
You needed to cement it. You needed to make sure.
Yeah. And I went with Vettel for the win, so I get a point. Which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, our 3rd/4th column. We were talking about Williams and McLaren, and we wanted to know where the top driver would finish in the race between Williams and McLaren. So we had to give a position.
British team. Where would the top British team finish?
Yes. And then
classified as British, not based in Britain, because that's confusing.
That's right. And then we also had to give a name, and we would get a bonus point if that person would finish in that classified position.
Yeah.
So, who do I start with?
And because we were both feeling punch drunk, we both neither decided to go with Alonso, who we both knew would be the top finishing driver.
We did.
But neither of us said it.
This is true, yeah. This is true. Anyway, so I'll start with you on this one. You said the top position for a Williams or McLaren would be 10th.
Yes.
And no, Alonso finished 8th.
For a beautiful moment it was after that second safety car.
Oh, he was there. He was definitely there. But no, that was no points. And you also said Stroll would be that person that finished in 10th.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just
Stroll?
I know. I don't know what possessed me.
Wait, let's see where he finished. Oh, that's right, 13th. Well done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said the position would be 9th. Now,
and for a glorious second, it was.
For a glorious second, until Max Verstappen ended up having a long pedal, I was going to get that point. I was sat there going, I think even into the last lap, I was sat there going, yeah, do you know what? I get another point for that. In your face, Andy. How'd you like them apples?
Because Alonso only passed Magnussen on the second to last lap.
Oh, flipping hell.
Yeah.
And so I don't get a point for that. I also said Van Dorn, but he beat Lance Stroll to 12th. So
he did. So
neither of us get a point there.
Yeah.
So we all get a point.
That was a bit predictable, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, we get a point each. So I'm just going to add these up really quickly. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 points. And you have 2, 4, 6, 7 points. Yes.
There you go.
So that was that. Fucking Max
Still
Verstappen.
All to play for.
Yes, this is true. Okay, so that's the race over and done with. Anything else we need to say about it?
Well, we need to do our predictions for the next race, don't we?
Oh, yeah, but as closing for this race.
No, I think it was nice to see the glorious weather. I always think Silverstone's nice when it's sunny. You get that nice heat haze down the Wellington Straight. It's still not my favourite circuit on the grid, on the calendar.
Right.
But I do enjoy it. I know I think maybe it's because we live in the UK and, we're watching British coverage. They're very, very, I don't want to say jingoistic, but it's always, it's the greatest circuit in the world and the best fans in the world and the blah, 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 the world and all. It's just like, I get it. You're British. You're proud to be British. That's great. Yay. But maybe you're at a 12 right now. I kind of need you at about an 8. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't help that because it's coming home as well.
I'm coming home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Andy's coming home.
That was all for me.
Okay. Right. So the next Grand Prix on our list is the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim.
Yes, the Hockenheim Ring.
Okay. So have you got any?
The curtailed one, because it's not the good old one that it used to have. It's the smaller version.
No, that's true.
So yes, some stats. The last race held here was in 2016.
Okay.
And then we had Nico Rosberg pole, and Hamilton won, with Ricciardo and Verstappen joining him on the podium. Fastest lap went to Danny Rick. And as far as stats go, most of these are meaningless because the German Grand Prix has been held at multiple circuits in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But just as far as the German Grand Prix goes for stats, the most wins is by a guy called Rudolf Caracciola. Caracciola? Probably pronouncing that wrong. Who won 26, 28, 31, 32, 37 and 39. A little bit before our time.
Whoa.
Then Michael Schumacher with 4. Hamilton, Alonso, Senna, Piquet, and Jackie Stewart, and Fangio and Ascari all won it 3 times. Yeah. I'm just looking at recent races. Rosberg won in 2014. Vettel won in 2013. Alonso 2012. Hamilton 2011. Alonso 2010. Mark Webber was 2009. And Hamilton was 2008. Okay. So there you go.
Good stuff. Right, so predictions for the race.
Predictions for the race.
Yeah, since you're behind again, as you always have been this season, which is
always
such a
shame.
Season. Such a shame.
I'm in no way lulling you into a false sense of security with the intention of crushing you at some indeterminate point in the future.
No, okay.
I wouldn't do something like that to you, would I?
No, you'd never do that. So, pole position. Who do you think will get pole?
At the risk of sounding like Le Broken Record, I'm going to go with Lewis.
Okay. I think home advantage might play something into this. It might play something into, but then again, Mercedes have got home advantage as well. What am I talking about?
Well, I'll tell you what. I was going to say Mercedes have home advantage. I'll tell you what as well, just to help you, mate. The last time they raced here in 2016,
yeah,
Lewis was. It was basically a Mercedes lockout on the front row, and then Red Bull.
Right. No, I'm still going with Vettel.
I was going to say Vettel qualified 6th.
I'm going to be dull and boring. I'm going to go with Vettel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And for the race result, who do you think will win?
Oh, for the race, who do I think will win? I've got to play the odds. I need to get that extra point, so I'm going to stick with Hamilton.
You're going with Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't like him, but I think he's due.
Yeah.
He's due.
He's due. Oh, jeez, man. With 4 world championships. No, Kimi Räikkönen's due. He's not due.
So you're putting Kimi down, are you?
Do you know what? I think he's on a bit of a roll. Like I said, he's been on the podium for the last 3 races.
There's only one step he hasn't stood on.
Exactly. Oh, man. But that means what's his name ain't going to be there. Vettel. I think Kimi Räikkönen might win it. I'm going to regret that. I'm going to regret it. Because I want to put Vettel down, but I don't want to keep repeating myself. Fuck it, I'm going with Kimi Räikkönen for the win. There we go. This is where it all turns around, isn't it? This is where you take over.
Well, it is the midpoint of the season. It's the halfway mark.
Right.
Here's Germany.
Okay. Right, Kimi Räikkönen for the win.
Okay.
Third column. What do you want? Because I haven't even thought about this yet.
Well, we have a German team in the way of Mercedes. We also have 2 German drivers with Vettel and Hülkenberg, so we do something related to any of them, if you like. Maybe where does Hulk finish?
Yeah, Hülkenberg finishing position, yeah. Why not?
Where does the Hulk finish?
What do you reckon?
I'm going to go with 6.
Oh, okay. You're going to go with 6th. And this is on the money.
Always on the money. Third column is always on the money. None of it's closest to the pin bullshit.
Okay. Well, if I'm thinking Kimi wins, sod it. Right. I want to say 8th, but I'd like to see Hülkenberg get his first podium.
Absolutely. And his home race, that'd be amazing.
I wonder if he could get his first podium. Oh man, I'm putting so much into some disaster happening at the beginning of the race, really, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you're assuming that there is a meteor hits in turn 1, taking out at least 5 cars.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I'm going to go with 8th. Right, Hülkenberg, finish 8th. There we go.
If he gets a podium, how pissed are you going to be?
I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to be so pissed. But yeah, if someone deserves a podium, he does. But yeah, 8th it is. I think I'll be stretching it. I'm asking too much for the Formula 1 gods to give Kimi Räikkönen a win for the first time in yonks and Hülkenberg his very first podium. But, you know, stranger things have happened.
For my next trick, Williams will score a point.
Oh, man. No, let's just leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
Okay, right, so that's our predictions. That is written into the book. So, it's 2 weeks' time now. We have a week off.
Oh, thank God.
Uh-huh. I love it.
And like I said, I won't have to get up early in the morning. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, I love it, but yeah, it's nice to have a weekend off, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Let it breathe a little bit. Let it breathe. Enjoy it. Okay, right. So, thank you, Andy, for joining me for this. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. This has been
always a pleasure.
Very cathartic, and yeah, I've had a real good time on this. So, thank you very much, mate. Have you got anything to pimp out to these other wonderful people that listen to podcasts?
Oh, well, obviously you can listen to me and Elton jabber on about usually whatever takes our fancy over at RogueTwoMedia.com. I haven't released any podcasts outside of this one because I've been away on holiday.
Yeah.
And like screw doing work. But for you listeners of the Grand Prix podcast, I will make the effort and do this for you. Hope you all appreciate it. To show your appreciation, I really think you should go and give us a review and a like on iTunes. Go and follow us on Twitter. You know, send us an email, send us some abuse. It's been a while since we've had some abuse. We should have some of that.
Yeah.
So let us know if you're Ross Brawn. If you want to give us a call, get us to come down and show you how it's all done. We're happy to do that. Just again, drop us an email at box@grandprixpodcast.com.
Our rates are very fair, I feel.
Very, very reasonable rates. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the pluggage I have, such as it is. I mean, you could follow me on Twitter at Andy3E. Mostly it's just cosplay and Formula 1 kind of stuff. So.
Good man. You can catch me on the Black Dog podcast. This week we are talking about the film War Games. Yes, that 1980, whatever it is, classic about awesome computers that fit into a child's bedroom. Flipping out, it looks dated, but it's still awesome. I still loved it. What else can you catch me on? That's it at the moment because, yeah, Shonky Lab, I will probably be talking about the World Cup on the next episode. We were talking about the group stages last time round. The episode before that, we were talking about what the World Cup means to us. And then we'll probably have a end to the trilogy of what happened at the World Cup once it's all over and done with. So you can catch all that over at RogueTwoMedia.com anyway. So until next time, till the German Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time, thank you very much for listening and goodbye.
Cheers.
Especially if October's got a problem because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap, so that's going to